this is going to be a video on customizing your UI. Now you'll probably notice, looking at my screen, that it will look a little bit different than what you have when you open up your ZBrush. I have green buttons and I have stuff everywhere. This is because you are able to pretty intricately customize your UI. You can save it as a file, and every time you come into class, you can load it up and have it the way you want it. And you'll see that there'll be certain buttons that you press all the time, or certain modes that you need to be in, or certain things. And you'll want to have them kind of right in front of you. A lot of them are kind of buried in all of these rollouts and panels. And that's one of the kind of the downsides of ZBrush. So if you can find all the ones that you like, you can move them pretty easily in and out and have like a nice setup. You can have a setup just for sculpting, you can have a setup just for posing, or a setup for painting. Like, you can do whatever you want. So to do that is we want to go into Preferences, and the first button is Initialize ZBrush. It has nothing to do with UI, but what this will do is it will basically reset ZBrush to its kind of factory default settings. The thing you want to do here is go to Config, and then we have Restore UI, Restore Standard UI. That will bring you back to the user interface that's kind of comes default. Store config, load, and save. So in order to get something going, we want to enable customize. And once you do that, you'll see you get some space up here, and what it will allow you to do is to go into any area and move stuff around. But the way you can only do that is if you hold Control and Alt, then click on a button, and you can move it around. And you can really move anything. Now, if you want to get rid of a button, just hold Control and Alt and drag it into the canvas, and it will go away. Now, to get it back, you can go into any one of these while you're in Customize mode. I want to get that button back, so I want to go to Stroke. I want to go to Transform, and look at these buttons here. So the button I want to get back was the S pivot. So in order to do that, once I open up the panel here, hold Control and Alt, hover over S pivot, and just drag it back down. It looks like I got rid of my other one. I got rid of my size. I have X, Y, and Z size. And that comes over here. Under Geometry, and then there's a size here. And here's the X, Y, and Z. So if I hold Control and Alt and drag it, I can bring it back. So you can bring in any button from anywhere and just line it up. You could have brushes that you could line up here. You could have materials that you like to use. If there's a certain material you like to sculpt with, like this one, you can just hold Control and Alt. You can click, well, you have to make it live first, then do Control and Alt, and drag it like that. And I had to put it back, so that's that. So pretty easy. When you're done, you want to go first back to Preferences and unclick Enable Customize. So that will kind of just stop you from being able to edit. And then in order to have it always when you open up, like on your home PC or laptop, you want to hit Store Config, and that will mean when you start ZBrush, it will always start with the configuration that you set it as. And then what you would probably use for classes is save and load. So once you have this UI, you can do Save UI, and it will save it as a file. And then when you get into class, you can do Load UI, and it will load in your custom UI. Oh, also in the Preferences, when you have Enable Customize on, you can go to the colors, and you can change buttons here. Right now, see I have it to green. I click that, now it's on white. So what's going to happen is any color over here, so if I pick like a red, and I come over to preferences, click that, it's going to make all my buttons red. But there's a lot of options here, and you can do what you want. You can also choose a startup material. This is new to 2018. So if you liked, I don't know, this one is your start material, like you can start, it always starts with the red wax, but the red wax is kind of horrible. So if you liked something like this or one of these other ones, you can click in here, and then at the bottom it says save as startup material. Again, this won't work on school PCs, but for your own thing, you could just click on a startup material, or click on any one of these and click save as startup material. Yeah, the last thing is these up here. You have load previous interface, previous colors, and this one is load previous user interface. So this one's for colors. So if I click through these, it kind of gives you some templates. Might be interesting. And these ones will do different layouts. So pretty cool. So in order to get back to where I was, I need to go to my preferences, config, and then restore custom UI. And we're back. Or we could do restore standard UI, which brings us back to default ZBrush. So that's it for this video on customization of your UI.